Hello, welcome back. In the last video, we have run this scenario where we are running 40 users, and we saw there are some kind of errors. And if you look at the errors, that errors are coming because that the CPU usage of this load generator has exceeds 80%. So what do you mean by that? Okay, so let's try to explain what's going on behind the scene. So essentially what is happening here is that this is your controller, and in controller you are saying that you are creating the scenario, and that is the scenario that we have created is this. Okay, and in this scenario, if you look at this this design time, you see there is something called load generator, and that is where we are given local host. So what does it mean? So this is what happened actually. So in VU gen, you develop the script. Okay, so vugen is used to develop your script. So once a script is developed, using controller, we are going to build a scenario. Okay, and then during running the scenario, we need some machine from which we are going to run the test. Okay, so essentially what is going to happen is that in the runtime, this things is going to be run, and who is going to run that? And the machine which is going to run that, that is called load generator. Okay, so that is a machine, that's load generator. So at this time, for this scenario, I have given the load generator as local host. That means I am the machine on where I am running the controller. The same machine I am also running my load generator. And what is happening here is that whenever I'm trying to run 40 virtual user using this load generator, looks like the system is 80% utilized, and that is why we are getting this notification saying that some error occurred. That is the reason that you are getting this error occurred. So how to solve this thing? Okay, so this is what is load runner gives you, is that you can add more load generators, right? So this is a local host. You can, for example, if you have some machines that is available to you, then there you can install the required software, and then you can add multiple load generators. So this is your LG1, LG2, LG3, and then what's going to happen is in these machines we are going to have an agent. Okay, so that is called load runner agent, and these agents are going to listen on a particular port. I think that port is something 54945 or something. Okay, so this load runner agent is going to listen to a port, and then when you're going to do in the controller, in the go to scenario tab, and in scenario tab you go to design, and here if you see there is something called, in this one is called load generators. So here you can add load generator. To add load generator, you just give the name of that machine. Let's say the name of this machine is xyg.com, then give the name of the machine here in the load generator. Okay, and then load runners, then HP supports in two varieties of sub platform. This can be on a Windows machine or it can be on a Linux machine. However, the controller is going to run always on Windows. Okay, whereas this load generators can be run on a Linux machine or a Windows machine. Test tool architecture. So you have this controller, and this controller is it's connected to multiple load generators, and you can have n number of load generators. Okay, and then you can separate, you can say that okay, you run basically instead of running 40 users in my case on the local host, if I have multiple load generators, then I might have distributed, say 5 user here, 5 user here, 5 user here, and so on. Okay, so just make sure that never ever exceed 80% of CPU on your load generator. The reason is that our goal is to simulate proper load. And what happens if the machine that is going to simulate load is CPU bound or resource bound, then it cannot do it cannot send the request properly. So therefore the results are not going to be valid. So that is the reason that we ensure that we never exceed 80% on the load generating machine. All right, and then the controller is going to give them the command. Okay, so you start the test, and then what is going to happen is that it is going to send the scripts. Okay, send the script from the controller to the load generators. Okay, and that is what is we call ready. So recall, whenever we are running the test, from down state we are going to pending state. Actually what is happening right now, whenever we're going down to pending state, then the scripts are transferred from the controller to the load generator. Okay, and after that it goes to the init session of the v user init and start executing. All right, and then all these load generators going to have the results on their local machine while the test is running, and then finally they're going to transfer all those results to controller to some kind of database where we store the result, and later on we'll see how to we analyze the result by using the analyzer program. So this is we're going to do in the next chapter. Right, so this is why we need load generator, and this is how we can solve the problem that we had before. All right, and the other thing that I want to bring to your notice is this. Let's go to the controller, and if you now in the local host, now like is go to details, there you can also configure. So what it says that this is called load generator information, and it says that for example in the v user limit, sorry, this is a runtime quota. So what I'm saying is that in this load generator at a time we can just run maximum 50 users. You can make to any number, like you can make it to maximum to 999 or whatever. Okay, so at one time we can basically see like it can initialize up to 919. Okay, and then it will the load generator requires some sort of temporary file storage. All right, and I think that is what is called temporary directory, and the temporary directory is going to store all those things what is required while running the test. And you can go through all the different kinds of parameters, and I think most of the time the default parameter is good enough to go. So this is how you can add load generators. So you have two options here. First option, that if you have a big if you are able to buy plenty of machines, then you buy your machine and then put everything on your local premise, right? So like if you have your own lab, then the lab you buy 2 CPU load drivers, so that is going to drive the load generators. That is where we are going to install load generator, and then you can run the test. Okay, so you can buy the machines yourself, and then you can install load runner software on these machines, and then controller is going to basically, and then after that these load generators can participate on the test and run your test. So this is option number one, that use your own lab. So that means you have to invest a lot of money upfront to buy these machines. So another option that is load runner has given, and that is actually starting from load runner 12. Okay, what you can do, you can add machines from cloud. I hope you are familiar with cloud, and I'm not really going to spend a lot of time in explaining that one, but imagine that instead of buying these machines, if there is a way that you can rent, absolutely you can rent a machine on an hourly basis from different cloud providers. Okay, and one of them is Amazon Web Services. Right, so this is one option, that you can do your own lab, or you can rent machine from Amazon Web Services, and from using Amazon Web Services load generator, you can configure right from your from your controller. You can add a machine from the cloud. So that is what you're going to see, how to provision from cloud, in the next video. But in this video I am going to use mostly local host for time being to develop my scenario. Once my scenario is developed, when I'm going to run actually a huge amount of load, I can show you by using Amazon Web Services cloud infrastructure how to scale these activities.